Ah, good afternoon, lovely spirits. It's the wise one. I greet in the sign of the rising sun. Peace and strength, growth and wisdom. Today I want to do this video discussing self-kind eaters. Now I know many of you are probably wondering, what is a self-kind eater? Now, as we all know, everything on this planet eats another life form to sustain itself. So lions eat gazelles, gazelles eat plants, but every life form eats another life form to sustain themselves. So when I say self-kind eaters, I mean someone indulging in eating their own kind, their own species. So if a lion ate a lion, a man eats a man. This is what I mean. Now, you don't generally see this, but all throughout the history of man, you've had cases, some fact, and some just rumor, of the elites indulging into cannibalism. Now, it doesn't matter where you go in history. There's always cases of the elites doing this. If you go back to the Mayans, the Aztecs, they used to eat brains and hearts of humans, as well as other parts of the body. You know, eat the brain. It's a deep thing. It's the whole tree of life thing. But, you know, this all has to do with longevity. Men eating, or anything on this planet eating. Eating has to do with you extending your life, lest you die. So it's a deep thing I want you guys to grasp. Now, there came a point in time where men begin to realize we eat life, different life forms. And all life forms are the same. They kind of eat another life form. And then man realized, if a thing eats its own kind, this will sustain it more than another kind. So if a lion ate a lion, this would sustain the lion more than the gazelle. Because the gazelle's atoms and cells and things are not the same as the lion's. Now the gazelle is life, just like the lion. So it will sustain the lion. But if you get my drift, it doesn't have the exact same makeup, the exact same cells and things as the lion. Now, if the lion eats its own kind, being as though its own kind has exactly the same makeup, this will sustain the lion longer, meaning eating is a matter of extending your life. This is why we eat. If one eats its own species, this will extend its life more than any other diet of man. So it's a deep thing I want you guys to grasp. Now you have three kinds of eaters. You have non-meat eaters. You have meat eaters. And you have self-kind eaters. Now when you're dealing with non-meat eaters, I want to go to someone who doesn't eat anything. So someone who eats no food at all, their lifespan will be very short. We know this. But they will have no physical bodily complications. They will die in peace. No sickness, no disease, just hungry. But they'll die in peace, probably in sleep. No complications physically with the body, because no food was eaten. Now I want to get into the three diets: the non-meat eater, the meat eater, and the self-kind eater. Now the non-meat eater, the lifespan of a non-meat eater is not as long as the meat eaters. And you can clearly see that in society. Meat eaters, and smokers and drinkers and drug addicts, they seem to outlive the healthy. This is where the saying, the good dies young, comes from. I know we think that comes from people getting murdered, but no, it's deeper than that. Besides murder, even in regular, it's like the good die young. And they sleep in peace. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Now, the non-meat eaters' lifespan is not as long as the meat eaters, but they have less bodily complications. They have more body complications than the person that eats nothing. But the person that doesn't eat any meat, they have less complications than a meat eater. And when the person that eats no meat dies, they will kind of die in peace in a sense, because there will be very little body complications that they suffer from. So it's a deep thing I want you guys to grasp. Now, when you get to meat eaters, this is more closer to a man, meaning the animals we eat, this is the meat, and animals are closer to man than plants and vegetation is, meaning the life form is more similar, so it sustains longer. But the meat eater has more complications. So you see how the life balances out? You extend your life longer, but you get complications with it. So the man that eats nothing, he has no physical complications, but his lifespan is not that long. Because we know if you don't eat, you'll be dead in about a month. Now, a person that eats no meat, their lifespan will be longer than the person that eats nothing, but they'll have more bodily complications than the person that eats nothing. You can still get high cholesterol, high sodium, excess carbon, and things like this from eating vegetation. So don't get it twisted. Plants take in carbon and push out oxygen. So plants are already high in carbon, so you have to grasp. But the non-meat eater will have very little complications with their body. Now the meat eater, he will live longer. As you see the meat eaters, they walking around diabetes, cancer, sicker than but they're still alive. They're always in the hospital, but they're still alive. So the meat extend the life more, but there's more complications. And as men begin to grasp more in their knowledge, they realize, like I said, if you eat your own kind, this will sustain you more than any other form of life. So men begin to indulge into eating their own kind. And this extended their life very long, meaning men live 200-300 years when they on that cannibalism stuff. But they have so many complications. Now, we see the complications that meat eaters have. We see meat eaters living long, but you also see the complications they have with their body. Now, I want you to grasp, with self-kind eaters, they live way longer than meat eaters. But the complications that come with it is so far beyond what y'all can grasp. Because we're only used to meat eaters' complications. Self-kind, they live longer, but the complications are far more worse. And it's a deep thing. It all boils down to morality. Now, in today's times, you have rumors of the elites still eating baby brains and things like this. And like I said, this all has to do with the tree of life. Men trying to extend their physical time. But it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp before a lot of y'all get lost and say, oh, I'm going to start eating humans because I'm human and I want to live forever. I want y'all to grasp a thing. This all actually boiled down to morality, because you had another kind of man, and he wasn't necessarily looking to extend his life, but he ate his own kind because of morality. It's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. We eat other life forms, meaning the lion eats the gazelle, but the lion doesn't eat the lion. And it's a deep thing. If all the life forms sustain, meaning for food, then morally wouldn't it be better to eat your own kind? And most people will say, hell no. Why would I eat another human? And this is my point. It all boils down to morality. Any act you do, you have to apply to morality. And this is how you know men or nothing on the planet has any morality. Because you don't necessarily see things eating their own kind, even though that would be just. If you're going to take a life to sustain yourself, why not it be your own kind? Why you want to take somebody else's kind? Everybody got their own kind. You have your own babies. Eat your babies. No. And this is my point. But we'll eat another life form's baby. And in our mind, that's right. Grasp the morality. Because it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Why not sustain yourself off your own kind? And this is my point. There's no morality. There's just, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Now, when you put things into that perspective and you tell a man, why not eat your own kind? That's morally right. It is not just for you to eat the pig in his kind when you have your own. You're looking to sustain yourself, eat your own kind. This is my point. It's a matter of morality. Because if a man had to eat his own kind, man wouldn't want to eat. Many men will say, I'll just die. And that's the point. Eating is wrong because you're eating a life form. But there's no acknowledgement to it until it's placed on self. And one says, eat yourself. Every life form has an abundance. Meaning, every life form reproduces. All life forms eat your own kind. You won't see people eating as much, I guarantee you that. You won't see the lion eating as many lions as he does gazelles. I bet you that. You won't see men scarfing down plates of food as big as a... It's a deep thing. I lost my train of thought when I was thinking of a bowl, a cake bowl. You don't see men scarfing down cake bowl size of humans. You won't see that. And this is my point. People got to begin to take account of what they eat and what they do more than anything. Take account of the portion, because that's life. The more we eat, the more life is killed to supply the demand. If you eat a lot, then those that kill the life to supply your demand, more will be killed. So we tend to act like we not guilty. I'm not guilty. I don't hunt, but you eat. So you fuel the hunting. You're no less guilty than the man that fired the shot. In fact, you're more guilty because you're the fire to his fuel. It's a deep thing. We have to take account. It's like I said, I eat once a day. And I just finished my oath. So it's a deep thing. Today is a deep thing. But people have to take account of what they indulge in this life. Because it's a deep thing. Now you have the non-meat eater. You have the meat eater. And you have the self-con eater. And they all eat so they won't die. Meaning they all eat to extend their life. I don't care what they say. Oh, I eat to be healthy, or I eat for this reason. Men eat first and foremost so they won't die. So they eat to extend their life. And I want you to grasp. In the non-meat eater, the meat eater, and the self-con eater, morally they're all the same. Their only concern is extending their life. And whatever they choose to eat They view that as just. So the meat eater loves animals, so they say, but I guess they don't care about plants, because they eat that up. So you see the morality. It's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. The meat eater, he's completely unconscious of anything. Because once you'll kill an animal and eat that, well, who's really thinking about plants at that point? Like, what are you going to say? Oh, I eat meat because I think plants are the... You're going to sound like an asshole. You telling me you killed a goddamn animal and ate that? Because you didn't want to eat the apple? Because you cherish that life? You don't cherish life. You're full of shit. So this is my point. You never really hear meat eaters like, no, eating plants is wrong and that's why we eat meat. Meat eaters completely don't care. Their nature's gone. You eat anything. They don't care. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp, the perspective. A man that indulges into cannibalism, meaning self-kind, indulging, eating. You gotta grasp. The last thing on his mind is an animal, is people, or anything. And if you look at the elites, they couldn't care less about y'all. You know, if you truly knew the things that happen, like the natural disasters we have, like tornadoes and hurricanes, and many of them are not even natural. They're what's being done to you. A lot of the sicknesses and STDs and diseases we have, many of these things were made in the lab. Not saying this is what was trying to be made, but scientists, they experiment trying to make things. And every time they try to make one thing, in their screw up, something else is made. So when scientists were trying to recreate water and bring hydrogen atoms and oxygen atoms back together, they got an explosion. Say, we can't figure out how life do this. When life do it, it work. But they got the explosion. So in that, then we got like atom bombs and, you know, higher level of explosions. But that's not what they were trying to do. But in them trying to recreate water and experiment with that, something else was created. And so it's the same with diseases and STDs and all these different things. In order for STDs and diseases to not be a man-made thing, then that means men would have to have been born with these things. Else, where else would they have got it? Grasp. Last time I checked, men ain't born with disease and AIDS unless it was passed down to them. And like I said, if man ain't make the disease, then how would he have gotten it? How would anything on this planet gotten a disease? I seen a post where it said, I think it was sheep, some animals got STDs, and this is where man got it from. How do animals get the STDs, if not from man? Like, think about that. You telling me animals were born with STDs and diseases? Where did this come from? This is my point. Diseases wasn't born into the life with the life. The life made the diseases, trying to make other things. It's like poison. Men mix chemicals together trying to make one thing and poison themselves, and now they got the recipe for poison. This is how we learn. It's deep. But there's no morality in the life. None whatsoever. And self-kind eating is a real thing I want y'all to grasp. You got a part of the brain that is called the tree of life. Now, I ain't going to get into what part of the brain that is, but there's a part of the brain that is known as the tree of life, and if you eat that, it is said that a man could live an enormous amount of time. So it's a deep thing I want you guys to grasp. It's just like the new wave with the wealthy, and they get the blood transfusions to keep themselves young, kind of like a vampire thing. They get blood transfusions every now and then from young kids, 18, 19, 20 in age. and they basically get a blood transfusion. 80, 90-year-old billionaires, they get blood transfusions, and then their age is kind of sustained in a sense. And there's many little tricks to extending the life, but it's like I said, with extending the life, you will always have the complications that come with it. And men don't have that in the equation when they're playing around. So it's a deep thing. Life is not to be experienced in the physical eternally. You're supposed to live as long as you were granted. Take account of what you indulge in. Have self-control, things like this. Enjoy the ride, enjoy the experience, but don't get lost in the experience. Because it's just an experience. It's like a man going to the movies and he gets so lost into the movie that he never leaves the movie theater. He thinks the movie theater is his real existence, and he goes to the most extreme things to stay in the movie. And it's like how people are in physical life. They experience this aspect of life, and then they get so wrapped up in it, completely forget that there's more aspects to life. You wasn't always in the physical, unless you wouldn't have been born into it. So grasp. Doesn't matter if you don't remember. A lot of y'all don't even remember last year because you're so drunk that whole year. So it's a deep thing. Just because you don't remember a thing don't mean it ain't happened. Just mean you don't remember. Like there's many things in this life y'all do not remember. You remember what you want. And all aspects of the life is the same whether you physical or not. You gonna remember what you want. Just like when you're dreaming. You're not physically in the dream, but you're in the dream because you are the conscious. The body is just it's just what it is. The spirit and the body, they just the physical and the astral aspect of self. But the conscious, it goes where it wants. And when you sleep, you dream, and there's no body involved, but you be. And when you come out that dream, a lot of times you don't remember what you was dreaming about. So this is my point. Y'all don't remember nothing anyway. So you don't got to get lost and say, well, I don't remember before I was born. Because you don't even remember last year. So you don't got to worry about that. You don't remember when you was 2. So why would you think you remember it? It's deep, but it's a matter of size of conscious. If you got a micro cells conscious, why would you expect to remember things on this level of existence? One of your moments here completely swallow the conscious of a cell up. Grasp. It's all a matter of space. It's a deep thing. But it's the wise servant, Mr. Solace. Peace and wisdom. Growth and strength. It's so deep.